I miscarried yesterday afternoon, and when I messaged my husband saying I think I lost the baby and asked if he could come home, he said of course if it's urgent, and it took him 60 minutes to get back because he stopped at the store to pick up some drinks. Posted by you/Progress Dependent 703. I've never had a miscarriage before, and this baby was so wished for, so it's all so fresh, and I'm sobbing right now, so I apologize in advance if it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. My husband turned 27 yesterday. I, 26F, was pregnant with mine and my husband's, 27M, second child. Yesterday, I was 8 weeks pregnant. The day before yesterday, we saw a beautiful heartbeat flickering on the screen, and today I'm devastated. I was playing with our 2-year-old when I felt a pressure in my lower abdomen. Not long later, I noticed bleeding, and I let my husband know immediately that I had discomfort and bleeding. Before long, I had passed what I believed is the fetus, and I messaged him, I think I lost the baby. I wanted to keep him updated, and I guess I was seeking some kind of emotional support. I asked if he could come home, and he said, of course, if it's urgent. I said I think it is because the pain and bleeding is getting worse, and I'm starting to feel lightheaded, and our 2-year-old is unattended in his playroom right now. We have no friends or family near that I could call who would get to us quicker than he could. I had to clean myself up, crawl downstairs to take paracetamol, make my son his lunch, and then put him down for a nap. At this point, my husband still isn't home. He was working approximately 30 minutes away and took closer to 60 minutes to get back. Hours later, when I asked, it was because he'd stopped at the store to pick up some beers. I ended up very poorly, losing lots of blood, lightheaded, vomiting, and all that, and he had to take me to A&E. By the time I was discharged, it was almost 8 p.m. last week. I had said I'd make him his favorite dinner for his birthday, which he reminded me about when we were almost home. I said I wasn't feeling up to it and that whatever takeaway he wants is on me. He said, for frick's sake, under his breath, and then muttered something along the lines of, this nonsense has ruined my birthday. He didn't stop to get any takeaway. He just drove straight home. He put our son to bed, and I went to bed, and I'm not sure what he did after. I didn't see him this morning as he had already left for work. He's not messaged me all day, and he got home a few hours ago. It's now 8:40 p.m., and he's been giving me silent treatment. I tried to speak to him about an hour or so ago, and he ignored me, and I called him a disgrace. He slammed the bedroom door and locked me out of the bedroom. His mum has since messaged me and said I need to be patient as he's also had a loss. She didn't ask how I was or anything. He's obviously speaking to his mum, but why isn't he opening up and speaking to me? She said I was harsh? I'm feeling utterly emotionally neglected right now. My body has been through emotional and physical heck. I understand that my miscarriage came at a freaking inconvenient time for him as it was his birthday and all. I'm not sure if it's the hormones making me feel crazy, but is it nuts to contemplate divorce? Am I the jerk for calling him a disgrace? Some of Ops comments. Ops response, off topic, I am on annual leave and return to work on Monday. I have already told a handful of my close co-workers that I am pregnant. I have no idea how to navigate this. What is the best way to tell people that I am no longer pregnant? Do I just say? Do I wait for them to ask? I feel so stupid for telling people so soon, so I've put myself in this position. What's the least awkward way to address it so that there are absolutely no follow-up questions? I don't want to discuss it any more than I have to because I just keep breaking down. Thanks. Commenter 1, you tell the person you are closest to spread the news for you. And tell them to make it clear you don't want to talk about it. Commenter 2, go to your doctor and get signed off. I haven't personally been in your situation but had a close friend who went through similar. Her doctor offered her 2 weeks initial certificate and more if she needed it. She ended up wanting to go back earlier, but he said it was her choice. Definitely take some time to yourself. You have gone through a massive trauma and need time before you have to face work. As for your husband, you are definitely not the jerk. If I could, I'd use much stronger language than you did. Both he and his mother should be absolutely ashamed of themselves. I know you said you have no family close by, but is there anyone you and your son can go to stay with for a while who will give you the love and support you deserve? Ops response, are you in the UK? I'm in England. My doctor's surgery is closed until Tuesday because of the bank holiday weekend. Do you know if out-of-hours doctors are able to sign me off work? My work involves closely monitoring new members of staff, assessing them, and signing them off to work independently. I need to be able to focus completely as there is no room for error and be smiley and friendly. I don't think I'm able to do this right now, but I'm not sure how to get signed off as I'm back in work on Monday. I'm not sure if that makes sense. Commenter 3, important, you are still at risk of infection at this juncture. It's still dangerous for you. Monitor your bleeding and temperature. Your marriage is over. How long you stay with him is up to you. But this man is neither husband nor father material. He cares more about his wants than your or your child's needs. It took a crisis like this to show who he really is. Ops response: I also have tonsillitis at the moment, so I'm feeling really rough. How will I know if a fever is from that or the miscarriage? I currently have a low-grade fever at 37.9 degrees Celsius, around 100 Fahrenheit, but I'm not sure what it's due to. The bleeding is no longer heavy. Commenter 4: Honey, have you got a doctor to consult? Best to ask them. I don't know how to tell the difference, I just know I wound up with an infection and emergency procedure a week after a miscarriage. The bleeding didn't slow for me, plus a slight fever. I didn't expect to be sick later. Hugs. Ops response: I spoke with my doctor yesterday, and because of the bank holiday weekend, I can't have a scan until Tuesday to confirm everything has been passed. I spoke to a pharmacist today who said to try home remedies because he doesn't think it's severe enough for antibiotics at this point, as he could only see 3 white spots on my tonsils. Ops response: I didn't mention anything about hearing a heartbeat. They don't listen to heartbeat through ultrasound here in England, they use Dopplers later on in the pregnancy. We saw the heartbeat flickering on the ultrasound after the technician smiled and pointed it out to us. By the sounds of things, you're lucky enough to have never been referred to a PAC for an early scan. I had a scan at 6 weeks and a scan at 8 weeks. You're kind of correct that the NHS do the first scan at 12 weeks, the dating scan. But unfortunately, not everyone has freaking straightforward pregnancies. Don't pull apart my story and try to invalidate my freaking miscarriage. I apologize for being short, but I had no sleep last night, and I'm in so much pain. Then picked up my phone to see a comment that my story is probably fake because some sheltered person has had the pleasure of not attending a PAC. Ops response: Fever is currently 38.5 degrees Celsius, 101.3 Fahrenheit. I think I'm going to have to head to A&E for peace of mind. Thank you guys for your advice. I'll try to respond to the comments in regard to my husband when I'm feeling better and have recovered. It's just been a hellish day and a half. Mini update in comments, 2 days later. I'm not sure how to do an update or if anyone will see this. I have left my husband. My son and I are staying with family and are safe. I have another scan tomorrow morning to make sure I have passed everything successfully. Thank you to everyone who had reached out and offered advice, it's been really helpful. I started antibiotics for my tonsillitis on Saturday, and I'm already feeling much better. Update, 2 days later. A kind Reddit user informed me that this is the best way to do an update rather than adding a comment to my previous post, so hopefully this reaches the right people. I should have clarified in my original post from last week that the way my husband responded was completely out of character for him. He's usually a caring and supportive man and is a good husband and father. The only incident where he's shown any kind of red flags was when I put together an accent chair. I used a screwdriver to attach the legs to the seat, and when he came home from work and saw that I'd done it myself, he jumped on it until it broke to show that I didn't do it properly and that I should have waited for him to come home. He'd been under lots of stress at work, so I asked him to go to therapy, which he did, instead of pulling the divorce card straight away. We have been together for 7 years in May and is the only partner I've ever known. My family all love him and have accepted him from day one. I also should have clarified, yes, I know he was a jerk in the scenario. I wasn't questioning that. What I was questioning was whether I took it a step too far in calling him a disgrace. He's going through a lot at work at the moment. It was his birthday. I'd been messaging him and telling him that I'd miscarried his child, and he had to leave work early, and then I called him a disgrace after he'd taken me to the hospital and was responding to the grief in his own way. I think the majority of people said I was not the jerk in this scenario and due to his behavior that my insult was justified. Thank you to everyone who reached out, checked in, offered condolences and emotional support. I've read all my messages and tried to read most of the comments. Most of them have been very kind and useful and have helped a lot over the past few days. I had a scan yesterday which confirmed that everything has passed successfully. Some people may remember that I was very worried about retained tissue due to my fever over the weekend. Also, my tonsillitis has fully cleared up, so I'm feeling almost back to normal physically. I left my husband. Me and my son are staying with family in a different part of the country, so we are safe and are managing. My husband did get very angry when I told him that I was leaving him. He tried to stop me from leaving with our son, put hands on me, and threatened to end his life. My mom intervened, and like I said, we are safe. I have some time off work now, so I will continue to take time to recover emotionally and plan my next steps. Thank you if you've read this far. I doubt there will be any more updates after this. Ops comments. Commenter 1, I'm glad you left him. But I am concerned you'll go back based on how this post is written. You are still speaking about him like he is a good husband and are justifying his behavior. Stop doing that. Make a therapy appointment for yourself. Ops response, he's not here to defend himself, so I'm trying to make it as fair as possible from both sides so he's not made out to be a monster. I have a therapy session booked. I will not be returning to him as he's not someone that I want my son to grow up watching and witness that behavior thinking it's normal. Commenter 2, I'm not going to lie, I had no idea where this post was going. It seemed like you defended his behavior, then dropped the chair incident on us, then continued to defend him. By the last paragraph, honestly felt like I had whiplash. Regardless, I'm happy you're away from him and are safe because he's definitely not a good person. Stressed or not, that's not how sane people conduct themselves. Please do not let him guilt you into going back to him. He's dangerous. Ops response: sorry, I'd like to say that I'm feeling better emotionally, but I'm not. I've kind of just word vomited like it's a diary entry in a sense. I'm going to start journaling from now so that I'm not just rambling to a load of strangers. Commenter 3: I'm curious why people do stuff like breaking other people's things like that. I had made something I 3D printed, and a coworker said it looks flimsy, and then took it somewhere I couldn't see and smashed it with a hammer. Like, it was beyond a reasonable thing that would ever happen. Like in that moment, she had a narcissistic demand that I somehow upstaged her, so she smashed my stuff out of jealousy. It baffles me. It was literally just like your husband did. Doing something intentionally beyond its normal use to begin with to intentionally destroy it. I read your post twice, and I think your husband is having a mental breakdown from work and has developed narcissistic personality disorder, probably from the stress. Ops response: I was thinking that maybe he was having some kind of mental breakdown and our miscarriage was the final straw. He said that when he stopped at the store to get some beers, it was for the both of us so we could drink our sorrows away. I was planning on getting him some help because he clearly needs it. He only acts insane when he's under immense pressure at work, genuinely. When he broke my chair, it was around the time of immense stress at work. But when he put his hands on me, he actually put his hands around my neck and was choking me, which is what is terrifying. I can't look at him the same, so I can't be the one to get him the help. I'm looking into full custody and solicitors so that I never have to see him again. Update 2, 5 weeks later. Hi, I'm not sure if anyone remembers, but I posted on this app for the first time a while back after I had a miscarriage and my husband said I ruined his birthday. I need to start this off by asking that if anyone takes the time to comment, please do not leave negativity or insults as I'm extremely emotionally vulnerable and I truly feel terrible. When I updated about 5 weeks ago, I didn't think I'd have to make another update, but in short, I'd left my husband, and he'd forcibly tried to keep me in the house by putting his hands around my neck. It was really frightening, and in that moment made me feel completely confident in my decision to leave. Since that day, I haven't had any contact with my husband. As I was leaving, he was screaming that he'd end his life if I left. It's not the first time he's threatened this in our relationship, but I called his mom once I was in the car to let her know. She said she'd go over to see him, and I didn't hear from her for another week or so. About 2 weeks ago, my husband was found deceased in our family home. I'm angry, hurt, devastated, relieved, and most of all guilty. I feel so guilty that he's gone. If I hadn't left, I'm certain he'd still be alive. But I can't be certain that I would be or that our son would be. I don't know. I don't know how much sense I'm making. I just know that there were some people worried for mine and my son's safety. Please be kind. Please reach out to loved ones or local services if you're struggling. Update 3, 5 months later. I randomly logged into this account today and saw countless messages checking in, so I thought I'd do a blanket response so you know we're okay. First of all, thank you. I was a shell of the person I am today 6 months ago when I first posted here to vent and get advice. I knew this app existed, but I had no idea that there are so many lovely people here so ready to help and share similar experiences. It was exactly what I needed when I needed it, and I'm forever grateful. It was just over 6 months ago that I miscarried. My husband treated me like crap on the bottom of his shoe, and I left him, despite him choking me in an attempt to scare me into staying. I'm now doing really well. I'm being medicated for anxiety. I've had almost 6 months of regular therapy which has been so beneficial, and so much more abuse has come to light. My now 3-year-old son has done really well. I do suspect autism, so I've started to get that ball rolling. If anyone is familiar with right to choose process in England with children's ASD referrals, please message me as it's so confusing. He's been struggling with that in preschool but otherwise doing really well, and I'm so proud of him. I'm about to complete on buying a house near my family. I've been staying here with my mum since everything happened anyway, but at least we'll have our own space again and near my support network. I'll never ever let a partner isolate me like that again. I have gone no contact with my mother-in-law and 2 sisters-in-law, which stung a bit, but my life is much more peaceful. That's about all I can think of that's happened since I last logged on here. I can't imagine I'll have any further updates. Thanks again so much to everyone who offered advice, guidance, and their own experiences. It probably saved my life and my son's life. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. With all the upset that's happened around him, it's possible that a lot of similar behaviors to autism can show through trauma or attachment. I've never met him, so cannot comment one way or another, but keep an open mind as there can be crossover. Ops response: This is exactly what I said to the doctor. Signs of trauma in young children can mimic some of the typical signs of autism. But because of what his nursery had documented it in the presence of autism in my family, she thinks it's best to get it assessed. But she noted it in the referral, so I hope it will be taken into account during the assessment. Commenter 2: Glad you left. Choking is such a serious sign on top of everything else. Ops response: And I wouldn't have known this without people on here telling me. Multiple people were quoting statistics of the likelihood that he'd seriously harm me once he choked me. I'm also looking into becoming an ambassador of a local domestic abuse organization to help others the way people here helped me. Ops response: My husband ended his life shortly after we left. I won't go into any more details other than my therapist suggested that it was the final act of abuse to punish me. Thank you.